And the next spot for you is a game that follows. 8:15 p.m. Eastern, AFC wildcard. New England Patriots 10-7, 6-2 on the road at Buffalo Bills 11-6, 6-3 at home. We're at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. It's going to be very cold. 7 Fahrenheit. It's about minus 14 Celsius for the Canucks in the house. Partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour will be the wind. This total opened up at 43.5. It's gone up a half point to 44. And Buffalo opened as 4.5-point favorites. That quickly moved to 4-point favorites. Now let's take a look at where the cash lies here in this spot. Is it? Sorry, excuse me. Okay, here we go. We have 14,425 tickets in against Wednesday night, January 12th. 37% of tickets are on the New England Patriots and 59% of the cash. So big bets, sharp money coming in on the Patriots, and we've seen it move from 4.5 to 4. From a total perspective, 38% of tickets are on the under, and 60% of cash is on that under. It will mark the third meeting in 7 weeks between these two teams. The Patriots come in as losers of 3 of 4. They finished the season with an underwhelming 33-24 loss at Miami. Mac Jones was 20 of 30 for 261 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Hunter Henry caught 5 passes for 86 yards. Jacoby Myers caught 4 passes for 70 yards. Brandon Bolden ran 7 times for 46 yards and a touchdown, caught 2 passes for 20 yards and a touchdown. Damian Harris ran 11 times for 37 yards and a touchdown, caught 4 passes for 36 yards. Juwan Bentley was all over the field, 17 tackles, but it was another game where the Patriots were unable to develop a pass rush. And there's not been a long history of this, but certainly you could talk about it in 3 losses in these last 4 games. Kyle Van Noy had their lone sack and quarterback hit. The Pats do have some COVID-19 issues to keep an eye on. Their cornerback group. Sean Wade was placed on the COVID list Monday. Cornerback Jalen Mills was placed on the list yesterday. Very important to keep your eye on the cornerback group. Patriots will need to rely on their defense and run game to control the clock on offense. That's how they will win this game. They are 0-5 when their opponent scores 25 or more points. So if you're backing the Patriots, you have to ask yourself, can they keep the Bills under 25 points? The Bills coming off their 4 straight win, 27-10 over the Jets. They defeated the Panthers, Patriots, Falcons, and Jets by an average of 15 points to finish off the season. Josh Allen, 24-45 for 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Also ran 5 times for 63 yards. Stephon Diggs caught 9 passes for 81 yards. And Devin Singletary has stepped up when this running back group needed it desperately. 19 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. This rushing attack was very pedestrian this year, but has come alive late. They finished with over 100 rushing yards in each of the past 5 weeks. The defense completely dominated the Jets, set the Jets to a franchise low 53 yards of total offense. The defense swarmed Zach Wilson, held him to just 7 of 20 for 87 yards and a touchdown, sacked him 9 times, hit him 10 times. Jets had just 4 first downs, and this is as healthy as the Bills have been all year. We know that Trey White is gone, but other than that, this is a healthy group. The Bills' pass defense has been the best in the NFL by a wide margin this season, keeping opposing teams to just 5.2 yards per attempt. Mac Jones had arguably the worst game of his career against these Bills in Week 16, 14 of 32 for 145 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Bebsy, the second game on your card, Patriots, Bills, take it away.
Well, look, this is a simple don't overthink it place for me. And my apprehension with this bet comes down to betting on a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. But I think Bill Belichick will do exactly what he did with a young Tom Brady, in that he will insulate him against his opponent and just get him to do what he needs to do to win the game and nothing more. And I don't know if they'll win this game, but 4 points is still too many to give Buffalo in a matchup against a team that's just dominated them for so long. And I know they kind of got the monkey off their back last year by by beating the Patriots, but that was a Cam Newton-led Patriots with so many missing players because they opted out due to COVID. It's been a different matchup this year. I just really, I'm trusting Bill Belichick in this. He's written on a whiteboard somewhere those comments earlier in the season from McDermott about not giving him enough credit or not giving Bill Belichick too much credit. It's I just think this game, if the Patriots don't win, they're not losing by more than a field goal. I expect low scoring, a perfect Bill Belichick kind of game, and I think you're crazy if you're betting the other side. So I'm on the Pats here.
The Pats. It is a fun time of year. Seeing all these opinions coming in from all these cappers that we respect. Sammy Culmer giving us a final score of 2017 Pats. Great to see you, Tasha. Spenny Pennybomb says, "In Bill we trust." An interesting note here. Well, first off, Birdie on the over 20 or 43.5 says there will be points here. If you had a free bet on the total, what would you do here, Bebsy?
I think this ends up being a low-scoring game, but that's a very low total. I said to you yesterday that I thought most of these lines were pretty sharp, or totals were pretty sharp, and for that reason, I don't have a strong lean either way. If it was free, I think I might take the under, but not with a ton of confidence. I thought all these totals were pretty sharp.
Well, it is moved to 3.5 at Circa. You can still get the 4 at Pinnacle. That 4 is available, plus 4 at minus 103. I'm going to pull up Pinnacle as well to make sure that these are all fresh lines, no stale lines. Plus 4, minus 103 for the Pats at Pinnacle. And Bebsy making moves on both of the Saturday games. Let's keep rolling with Bebsy, because the next spot on the board for our Clint Star, the diehard MMA podcast, is the Patriots Bills. Already broken down, set the table for it. So we know that Bebsy's on the Pats, plus 4, minus 103 at Pinnacle. How is Clint going to get paid here? Patriots Bills, take it away.
I know Bebsy's got his grudge match going with Birdie, and they need to have it out, Jimmy. But I got dibs on next, I guess, with Bebsy, because we're going to go head-to-head here on this one. If you recall, Jimmy, you and I have talked about this matchup once in the past before. And I told everybody in the chat that these Buffalo Bills are a better team than we have showed, and they were due for positive regression. And what did they do in the rematch against the Patriots, Jimmy? They came out, they told them to put their teeth on the curb, and then they stomped on them. That's exactly the type of game that I expect to see from the Buffalo Bills against these Patriots. The weather in the first game is the key deciding factor for why that game was so close. As soon as they put the ball in Josh Allen's hands, Jimmy, there was nothing the Patriots could do to stop this kid. I fully expect the second game to be the truth. And what we've got is another game. The Buffalo Bills are going to be home. It's 1-1. They're going to show who is the more complete team at this point in time. I don't think that Patriots defense is going to be able to stop this explosive offense. And as much as we're excited about this Patriots team, they've got a young quarterback. It's going to take him some time before he can gunsling with the likes of Josh Allen. And there's just too many weapons on the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to lay the chalk, Jimmy. Bills -4. Let's go Bills.
Bills -4 at minus 110, but you don't mess around. You got another big plus line player prop. Take it away. How are you getting paid?
Hell yeah, Jimmy. So this is one of my favorite spots. It's a spot that I personally have played throughout the season. One of Josh Allen's favorite targets this season has been Dawson Knox, and he's been all the way down to like plus 140, plus 150 at times, because they just constantly look for this guy in the red zone. Like I said before, I think this is the game where the Bills show these Patriots and everybody who really is boss in this matchup, going 1-1 into this third playoff position, and the weapons are going to be on fire. Dawson Knox is the perfect tight end target. He's got sure hands. He's got a big body. He knows how to run his routes. And I don't know how he does it, Jimmy, but he just keeps on getting open. I snatched this guy up in my Dynasty Fantasy League because Dawson Knox is going to be a problem. And Josh Allen just loves this guy. So plus 210 on Dawson Knox to score a touchdown. I will take it.
Dawson Knox plus 210. Okay, let's keep rolling here, Zoe. Next up for you, New England Patriots, and Buffalo Bills. Can't wait to hear your breakdown. We have both sides of the fence right now. We have Bebsy, who started us off with his look on the Pats plus 4. We've had it turn around and seen Clint on the Bills -4 and the Dawson Knox prop. How are you getting paid in this giant football game?
Yeah, I'm going to side with Clint on this one with the Bills. And part of my reasoning, Jimmy, is I do not like backing rookie quarterbacks in the playoff. Mac Jones' first playoff game, I think the last 3 games of the year, he didn't look nearly as good as he did before. I think he's hitting the rookie wall. It's in Buffalo. The weather, I actually go to Bills games. I have friends up there. The weather's supposed to be halfway decent. If the weather is going to be really bad, I probably wouldn't make this pick because I think the Bills are going to need to throw the ball. Josh Allen's going to need to play like he did in New England. And I do think the Bills will be able to stop the run enough to win this game by 6 or 7 points. You look at the quarterbacks, I don't think many people are going to take Mac Jones over Josh Allen if you just look at quarterback versus quarterback. Both of them have pretty good defenses. I would say New England's defense may be slight better. But I just look at it, I don't want to back a rookie quarterback on the road with the crazy Buffalo Bill fans. I like the Bills here at home. Give me -4. I think the sharps will be on the Bills here because I think the public looks at this like Patriots +4 is a good play.
Well, I can beat that because Circa's hanging the Bills -3.5 at -109. So
I'll take that.
-3.5 at -109. We keep rolling. Week 2, Bills, Patriots. How are you attacking this one?
Man, if you don't know by now how I'm attacking this, you don't know who the fuck I am, guys. And sometimes that's a good thing, but it's really who I think I am. That's the one you need to worry about. This right here, it's Josh Allen, guys. He's my guy. He's your guy. He's been putting food on our kids' table. If you've been playing his rush props, when I tell you to play his rush props. If you look at it through the year, he's only hit it 12 out of 18 times, 66%. So if you've played him blindly, you're winning at a good 66%. But if you've been listening to old Sharpie, you've been hitting at an 87.5%, guys. And this falls into that category, guys. All year long, if it's a 2-score game, Josh Allen hits his rush prop 87.5% of the time. Okay, 2 games versus the Patriots, he's averaging 51.5 rush yards. Okay, his average line this year is 36.5 yards. Okay, this guy's smashing his rush props, guys, is what I'm getting at. I don't expect a blowout in this game. So if it's within 2 scores, he hits it for us.
It's worked so well. It's worked. I've watched it work all year long. Anytime there's a tight game, Allen goes over his rush props. I can't get it yet. The books that have come out have given.
That's the one that is not out yet.
Okay.
So as long as it's under 38.5, I'm game. It shouldn't be higher. I'm a little scared that they're going to jack it up because his last 4 games, he has ran the ball well, but it's like those are blowouts and stuff. So they might overinflate it a little bit, but he should easily hit this.
I love it. I love it. So we'll keep an eye out on your Twitter handle. For those of you who don't follow Sharpie, do it, man. He's such a selfless capper. He only cares about us all cashing together. So I'll put his Twitter handle here. So it's a Josh Allen over rush yards prop. He's looking as the key number at 38. Let's get after it, Raghu. You have 3 games on your card, and you start with the New England Patriots at Buffalo Bills. We've already heard both sides of the ledger. How you getting paid here? Is your hat telling the story?
Maybe, maybe not. I had to wear something black tonight, so I figured let's throw the Pats hat on. It matches the outfit. I like. There's a couple of things that kind of play in the. Usually, when you meet up a team 3 times in the same season, especially in the division, it's a tough look either way. It's always tough to beat a team 3 times, but we don't have to worry about that. And the other game on the West Coast with the Rams and the Arizona Cardinals, same scenario there. But we're not going to be talking about that game. But this particular game here, it's a story of 2 tales. The first one went one way with the weather relations and the way that the Pats handled business, running the ball the whole game. Then when they were successful in that aspect, they were saying that, well, can Buffalo come to New England and run the ball? Are they going to try to run the ball? Well, if you go back and peel that game back, they were pretty successful running the ball. They had over 100 and some odd yards. I think it was like 149 yards. They rushed the ball 27 times. Not too shabby. And then Buffalo, the X factor in that game was definitely Josh Allen. I mean, he ate New England alive in that game, and they didn't have an answer for him. So, usually Belichick is the master of preparing. Like I heard Zoe or somebody was saying that they were thinking they were going to protect the quarterback Jones in that role here. And he's a rookie going on the road, which is a tough ask. And I think, Belichick will be around. I don't think it's his last hurrah, to get into the playoffs. They kind of, when they played the Dolphins own that team. Every year it's just one of those teams that has their number. So I don't want to look into that game too much. You don't like to back a team backing into the playoffs, but sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And then this time I'm not. I'm going to be on the Bills side. Here's the other thing. You got Jones coming up into, I think it's going to be like 2 degrees. I don't think he's a northerner kid. Yeah, they're tough. They're pros. They're all going to play, amongst each other. But condition-wise, I think, Belichick's not going to play the game. He's going to coach it. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, though. See, so normally I would say if you think it's going to be a lower-scoring game, I think it coincides, with the Pats. If you think it's going to be low-scoring, if it's going to be higher-scoring, it's going to be Buffalo. It's going to be close. I heard Beb's talking about sharp numbers. I got the number pretty close to that too, but I think we'll see a lower type scoring game, more of a control game. But I think the Bills will get better than the 4.5 points in this spot here. Now I think it's dropped down maybe 4. But when I first seen that, I says, man, 4.5. 4 is an overlay. 3, it seems like a field goal game. When I started looking at it, I said, nah, there's just too many variables against the Pats versus, I mean, they are rolling right now. The Bills, they were shaky. They caught that shaky spot there, but man, they're coming into the playoffs real strong. Their offense is good. Their defense is going to be good on the pass. I think they're going to have to beat them. I don't think he has to have his best game, but if he plays anywhere like he did in New England, it's lights out for New England this game. Give me the Bills on the money line and the points.
Ooh, money line and the points. Well, we can get you a nice 3.5. A nice 3.5 here at Circa. Let's see what we can do for a money line spot for you. See how low we can get you. The lowest we can get you, I can find right now, is minus 197. Again, that is at Circa. Let me just move.
197?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Minus 197. Yeah.
I hate going against Belichick because, I think this is a spot to go against. I really do. Just because of the circumstances with the quarterback. And I know they're getting a little healthier in the running back position, which they were kind of a little bit light when they played last time. But I just think, too much talent on both sides of the ball here for the this team last year was 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl, and usually those type of teams, when they show back up the next year, they usually take a step forward. And I think even though it's an early game, and usually I'm all about the wild card teams, not saying it's a chalky situation when you line up with these wild card teams. I know I heard Clint talking about, dog money early on, but I'm on the opposite side, especially wild card weekend. I'm all about I'm kind of tip my hat a little bit here, but usually the home teams, it's set up for these guys to win. Not necessarily by margin, but, just to get the win. And I think the numbers here is low enough for them to cover it.
Bills minus 3.5 at minus 109. Bills money line minus 197 available at Circa. And Big Ragu is on the board. Let's keep rolling. Next up for Babano, Patriots, Bills. We had the show open up with Bebsy on the Patriots +4. Then we had not only Clint, but also the Big Ragu moving on the Bills. And was it not only him, it was also Zoe on the Bills. So back-to-back action on the Bills after Bebenek got us started with the Pats. How are you making money in this one, Patriots, Bills?
5 quarterbacks, again, making their first ever playoff start. Joe Burrow, Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, and, of course, here in this game, Mac Jones for the New England Patriots. There is no doubt whatsoever of all 5 of those first ever playoff starters that we're going to see this weekend. Going into this weekend, the quarterback struggling the most with his confidence going in is Mac Jones. There's no question about that. No question whatsoever. Murray a little bit has struggled for Arizona, but he's got a lot to work with. I find Mac Jones is regressing the more we go down. You trace it all the way back to the Indianapolis game on a Saturday night a few weeks ago. Hasn't been the same Mac Jones. Now, I do think they can run the football here against the Bills. The Bills run defense isn't anything to write home about. You've got Ramondre Stevenson and now healthy Damian Harris forming a nice 1-2 punch running the football. They're going to have to hope they have success that way because the last meeting against the Bills, Mac Jones struggled. You look at the Indy game, he struggled. The Buffalo game, he struggled. Last week against the Dolphins, it was a disastrous start for him. He did improve a little bit late in the game, but I think Miami with the big lead got a little comfortable. But Mac Jones is just now, he's trying to fit things in, the tight windows when there's not really anything there. And he's trying to, I think, do too much at times. That's the problem. He's had really one game that he's played very well down the stretch, and that was the 50-10 blowout against Jacksonville, which isn't really saying a whole lot. So, they should be able to run it. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a first-time ever playoff starting quarterback. Again, those quarterbacks are 38% ATS all time in the playoffs, making their first ever start. You're talking about going on the road for your first playoff start in a loud, raucous environment there in Buffalo. It's not going to be easy. And I don't know. To me, the Bills' defense is rounding into playoff form with the way they've played down the stretch. They're getting after it. Addison, Hughes, Gregory Rousseau, all of a sudden, the draft pick out of Miami, is making an impact with the pass rush. And even without Tre'Davious White for the rest of the season, the rest of the secondary, it's a deep secondary. It's a loaded secondary. It's one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. And more importantly, for a young, inexperienced playoff quarterback like Mac Jones, it's a ball-hawking secondary. It's a secondary that can pick the ball off if you're going to make mistakes and try to think you can force it into tight coverage. I think you're going to see maybe the Bills. I'm also looking at a Mac Jones to throw an interception prop here in this game. Make no mistake about that. I will absolutely be interested in that from a prop standpoint in this game. But I like Buffalo here at the short number. We're talking -4 now in this game. You certainly respect what Bill Belichick can do to put his teams in position to succeed, but I think they're up against it here. I don't think the passing game is going to work. They're going to have to hope they run the football, but I don't think a one-dimensional offense for New England, even if they do have success to run the football, is going to be enough to win here in Buffalo. And let's also keep in mind one thing. The Patriots this year against dual-threat mobile quarterbacks, they've struggled. They've had a tough time against those type of quarterbacks. Well, Josh Allen clearly is more than capable of being extremely dangerous, taking off and running with the football. So put it all together, and I think the price is a little bit short here for Buffalo.
And not only that, but Circa's giving you that extra half point, -3.5 at -109. Michael Pulisic in the house says Bills will kill them. Bills will kill them. Ski Profits, has any thoughts on teams playing for a third time? I'm nervous it could be a closer game because they're used to each other. And we had some interesting points in the chat as we broke this game down. And one was that it might be, to the Bills' advantage a little bit because they're so used to Belichick that Belichick might not be able to have his fingerprint all over this game the way he's capable of in the playoffs. But will you touch on that answer? Because we love hearing you break down these sort of the psychology behind action. Again, says, any thoughts on teams playing for a third time? Always going to be divisional battles. Says, I'm nervous it could be a closer game because they're used to each other.
Yeah, that's very possible. And we've got a bunch of rematch situations here this weekend in the wild card round. But to me, for as much as we say Bill Belichick in a divisional game, but You could say, I think people lose sight of the fact that the Bills have a pretty good coaching staff too, with Sean McDermott and company. I've been impressed with them from day one. They've got an experienced defensive coordinator in Leslie Frazier, who's been around the block, who's been a head coach at the NFL in the NFL before. Brian Dable, his days of, unfortunately, if you're a Bills fan, his days as an offensive coordinator for you are numbered. He's going to get a head coaching job. The Bears, the Dolphins, there's a bunch of teams knocking on his door already for an interview for head coach going into next season. So I think that in terms of preparation, third meeting, this is not about preparation anymore. I think maybe earlier in the season, you put some stock into the coaching prep, and certainly if there's a team coming off a bye week, you pay attention to that. But when you're playing the same team for the third time, how many more wrinkles and adjustments and new things can you really put into your playbook or your scheme on either side of the football? I'm not so sure. I think this just comes down to, if you're an offensive lineman, win your block. If you're a defensive lineman, get after the quarterback and make sure you get off your block. If you're a running back, make sure you finish hard and keep the legs churning, gain those extra yards. If you're a receiver and the ball's thrown to you, catch the football. If you're a quarterback, make sure you make good decisions. Make sure you put the football in a place your receiver can get it. My point is, I don't think it's so much about coaching and preparation in these third matchups in the same season. I think it's execution. It's just you go out there and you execute at a high level, both sides of the football, and that's what's going to put you in a position to win. I think the coaching element of a third matchup situation like this is not so much as important. I think it just comes down to execution because these teams know each other so well.
Spenny Pennybaum says this game will go under and it's going to be tight. Says Bill and the D last game was very plain. They did not bring out a lot of different looks, very basic and similar in both games. They will open up more pressures, different defensive looks. Bill McDonald says Belichick is the GOAT, but he's not on the field. Bills all day. Spenny comes back saying, I'm telling you, New England is showing the same looks against the Bills both games. They will throw more at Allen this time around. There is Ick Schnizzle in the house, Ohio's finest. Thank you for rolling with us. And yeah, it's been tough watching Carter battle COVID, man. It sucks, but he's a real tough kid, and we have a lot of kids in every community right now that have to deal with this stuff, and it's sucks. But he's battling, he's fighting the good fight.
Come on, Carter, we got your back here. You got this, right? That's what
yeah, man.
Say.
Yeah, man. He'll be gambling with us in no time. I promise you that.
Okay,
so. Patriots, Bills, we have locked in for Babano on Bills -3.5 and -109.